can look like a 30-year-old Bratz doll. And for once in the history of ever, it's not boomers' fault. Gen Z, bring your Shein wearing ass to the front of the class. Woo! Welcome back to The Real Report with Jeffrey, the only late night news show that bows to no one. HBO couldn't buy me out if they tried. My overhead is $0 because I shoot this live show in my mama's house and I steal my neighbor's Wi-Fi. So if this just stops happening, it's because they found out. Now, Americans are buying more clothes than ever before, wearing them less and less, and y'all, we are creating huge piles of textile waste, most of which ends up in landfills. So if you're buying from Fashion Nova or Shein, Temu, or that one Caribbean lady from the swap meet selling Lululemon leggings out of the trunk of her Corolla, you already knew that. But here's the thing no one is talking about, guys. Your hot girl wardrobe is funding big oil. And if you're having a hot girl summer and a $4 Fashion Nova haul, you're not sweating from the weather. It's because you're wearing pure, unrefined, unleaded. You're not hot. You're a walking fire hazard. So, for tonight, put out your cigarettes. Don't light that blunt because we're breaking down how your fast fashion addiction is fueling big oil. I'm gonna read that back one more time. We're breaking down how your fast fashion addiction is fueling big oil. Now, first, we're gonna go back in time to see how we got here, folks. Now, before the mid-19th century, off the rack wasn't even a thing. The rack was your great-great-great-grandmother going at it on a weaving loom. Is that a sex joke or a historical fact? Yes. And welcome to The Real Report. Now, at that time, most clothes were handmade, as 2/3 of all clothing was made at home. All right, friends, I'm gonna do a quick pop out, make sure this stream is streaming, because you know what, like I mentioned, I'm siphoning this internet, so it might be a little funky dunky, you know what I'm saying? It just be happening. Here we go, guys. It looks like we're live. I'm gonna keep this puppy trucking. Now, back then, you had two fashion choices, your work outfit and your church/wedding/suppress women outfit. And you wore the same thing every day until you died, and then they buried you in it. But around the Civil War, the military needed to dress hundreds of thousands of soldiers really, really fast. So began the mass production of thousands of uniforms and the beginning of fast fashion. It even marked the start of America's first standard sizing system, small, medium, or large. Or in women's sizes, I hate myself. Guys, no one looks good in mass-produced khakis, okay? That's not fashion, it's misogyny. Now, if we fast forward to the post-war boom, that's when corporate psychology entered the chat. Hey girl with your toxic ass. It was then that, there's a mosquito in here and I'm gonna kill it. Anyway, it was then that retailers realized that to keep factories printing money, clothing just couldn't be about utility anymore. It had to be about status. Now, 1920s ad executives, they were the ultimate petty bitches. They didn't have to wait for your clothes to wear out. They just had to convince you that wearing last year's dress made you look poor and ugly, as if surviving the Great Depression wasn't hard enough. Sorry your bank collapsed, but that A-line dress is so last season. Have you tried not being poor? Also, here's a potato, enjoy your dinner. But even with all of that brainwashing, fashion still had a hard speed limit. Why? Because natural fibers like wool or cotton and silk, they take time to grow. So to make fashion truly cheap and disposable, the garment industry needed a magic material that they didn't have to wait on Mother Nature to grow, something they could refine in a lab. Enter crude oil. Now, fast fashion isn't a garment problem, it's a science problem. Like engineered mosquitoes or whatever is currently happening with Kristi Noem's face. But around the 1930s and the 1940s, the game changed. And with the invention of nylon, polyester, and acrylic, brands stopped waiting on cotton harvest or sheep shearing. Instead, they realized that they could refine clothing directly out of crude oil and natural gas. That's right. The same $12 a gallon that you put in your car starts with the same stuff that makes that slutty ass three-piece bodysuit. And guys, here's what's happening. Now put on your science ears because I'm about to get my Miss Frizzle. I hope you like my hair because that's what we're doing. Here we go. Now, it all starts deep underground where traditional oil majors like ExxonMobil, Shell, they pump up thick black crude oil. And that mixture is then sent to massive refineries where it's boiled and separated into different chemical layers. Now, the specific layer needed for clothing is a unique liquid called naphtha. From there, chemical giants like Dow, alongside specialized chemical arms of oil manufacturers, they blast it with extreme heat in a process called cracking. Now, here's just a little interjection, okay? If they're doing anything that has to do with crack to make something, it's not going to end well. Now, after cracking, they create this thick, melted plastic syrup. They then take the melted plastic and the fiber producers stretch out these threads that make them strong, and then they spin them into yarn. And then they sell these massive spools of fabric to clothing manufacturers. Global fashion brands like H&M, Zara, even Adidas and Lululemon and Nike. They use these manufacturers to cut and sew and to style the oil-based fabric directly into everyday things that we wear, from spandex to leggings, clothes, shirts, shoes, all the things. And today, 70% of all the clothing on planet Earth is produced from synthetic petroleum fibers. Guys, 70%. If your closet is 90% Shein, you're not a bad bitch. You are a fire hazard, okay? That's why your fire alarm be beeping like that. You need to take that shit out your closet, girl. And y'all, when major chemical players like DuPont and Dow, when they entered the fashion arena, like every episode of America, there's always someone to pay the price. And it's usually Black, brown, and poor people. Now, these chemical giants, they expanded petrochemical refining plants. Oh my goodness, give me a second. I know we're on a roll. I'm so sorry to pause. Give me 1 second, you beautiful, sweet babies. There we go. Okay, we're just gonna go back. Ow! If you're watching, thank you for watching. I hope you're having a great time. Like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, now, petrochemical refining plants, and they led to, I'm just gonna go back one more time. Here we go. These chemical giants, they expanded these petrochemical refining plants, and it led to an environmental onslaught, including the dawn of Cancer Alley. Now, if you're wondering, Jeffrey, Cancer Alley? That can't be good. No, bitch, it's not. In the 60s and 70s, these corporations built massive petrochemical refineries right next to historically Black towns, giving birth to the name Cancer Alley. Now, if it sounds concerning, it's because it should be. It's an 85-mile stretch along the Mississippi River, housing over 200 chemical plants and processing over a quarter of America's oil and plastic. Guys, the air there is so toxic that the residents face some of the highest cancer rates in the country. It literally looks like the villain's town from The Lorax, except if that little orange dude, the Lorax, if he pulled up, he took one breath, he'd be like, I am the Lorax. I speak for the damn, this is terrible. I gotta get out of here. Also, fun fact, did you guys know that Dr. Seuss was kind of racist? Oh, the places you'll go is about January 6th. Now, if you're learning something today, go ahead and hit that like button and follow us. We bring you the realness every week, or at least until my mom evicts me, because I keep the thermostat on low. A bitch don't like to be hot. Now, landmark studies like the famous 1987 Toxic Waste and Race Report, it proved that race was the #1 deciding factor, and where these corporations would dump hazardous chemical and textile waste. They intentionally targeted Black and Indigenous neighborhoods in the South because they thought that those communities wouldn't fight back. And guys, that legacy didn't stop in the 80s. Right now, the crude oil to fast fashion pipeline is on a full-blown binge, and it is spreading across the whole planet. Since the 90s, fast fashion has completely overhauled the way that we shop, and the speed is just getting downright aggressive, kind of like that 60-year-old man hitting on you at the club. Sir, I don't want this drink. Also, this isn't a club. We're at a Buc-ee's gas station. And speaking of aggressive, Shein drops an average of 7,000 new items on their app every single day. 7,000 a day. Honey, there aren't enough rapper pool parties, sexy brunch dates, and host strolls on planet Earth to justify 7,000 new pieces of polyester fits every single day. And if you're asking, well, who is actually buying all this wearable crude oil? I got bad news. The call is coming from inside the tiny house. The main culprit is Gen Z. Young women aged 18 to 24 are currently the single largest demographic feeding the fast fashion beast, largely fueled by TikTok hauls and Instagram algorithms. Surprise, surprise. An app designed to make you scroll for 6 hours a day makes you want to buy stuff that you don't need. Fork found in kitchen. Now, what makes all of this wild is that Gen Z is statistically the most environmentally conscious generation in history. Over 90% say that they care deeply about the planet, but when it comes to shopping, price wins every time. Y'all, we are all broke, and a $6 Shein top is beating out a $60 ethically made organic cotton shirt all day. And research shows that climate anxiety, along with young people feeling a sense of nihilism, creates the world is ending anyway, who cares? So while boomers are buying up all the real estate and millennials are outside crying because boomers are buying up all the real estate, Gen Z is just out tube top shopping their existential dread away. But guess what? We're all paying the bills. Synthetic fiber production for clothing currently burns through 1.35% of the total global oil supply. That is more crude oil than the entire country of Spain uses in a whole year. Y'all, we are consuming millions of barrels of petroleum and melting the polar ice caps so we can all dress like bootleg Bratz dolls for a guy that we're crushing on who doesn't even know that we exist, and he probably doesn't know how to wash his ass. So, what's the answer here? What's the solve besides taking away TikTok and forcing everyone to wear burlap sacks? Well, the good news is lawmakers are finally waking up. New extended producer responsibility laws are rolling out across Europe and states like California, forcing these ultra-fast fashion brands to actually pay for their waste, sorting, and recycling of synthetic rags that they pump into the world. But on our end, we have to stop falling for the trap. The next time you want to look like a bad bitch, practice the 30 wear test. Now, before you click buy now on anything synthetic, ask yourself, am I actually going to wear this at least 30 times? Girl, if the answer is no, you don't need it. Close the app. Leave it in the cart. Step 2, unfollow the fast fashion haul influencers. When a 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old TikToker tells you that you need a $4 top, remember, she is not giving you fashion advice, okay? She is selling you a literal bucket of refined crude oil. Now, y'all, if your outfit melts when you get too hot or too close to a scented candle, it's not fashion. It's hazardous material. Now, that's our episode of The Real Report for the night. I hope you learned something, and I hope you go out there and buy better, higher quality, sustainable slut tops. If you want to dive deeper into how corporate greed manipulates what you buy, check out our video right here on consumerism in the beauty industry, okay? Now, we will be right back here next Sunday or Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern for a brand new episode of The Real Report. We are talking about your right to protest and how lawmakers are taking it away. Now, I love you. I hope you have a great day. I have to go to my other job. Boo capitalism.